Hey, welcome back. Did you all know that many of us become experts at surviving, but not surrendering? Today, I want to talk about sitting in surrender and not struggle. So, welcome back to another episode of Menopause Moguls, Navigating Midlife-ish with yours truly, Dr. Joyelle. And I want to talk about surrendering today because there's so many things that are happening, that are shifting in midlife. And it could be so easy for us to fall into and live in the struggle or remain on the struggle bus. And this came up for me because I found myself in the CVS pharmacy line thinking, how many times I got to come to this damn pharmacy to get some medication? And before that, I was telling my husband, I'm like, yeah, I got to go to CVS. He's like, you got to go to CVS again? I'm like, yeah, man. This is what happens when you have an old wife. I'm 2 years older than him, y'all. So I had to go back to CVS to get, I had to call in a refill, wait for it to be ready, and then go back and pick it up. But I feel like I've been doing that like every week. And literally it's not every week, but it feels like every week that I'm going to CVS for something. Now, granted, my oldest daughter was sick, so I did have to go to the pharmacy for her. But still, I feel like I'm just going to the pharmacy from something, a refill, a new medication for myself. It seems like it's very frequent. And I almost was, started to complain. Almost. And I'm like, how many times do I have to do this? Right? Because I remember just the beginning of this journey of me being back on blood pressure medicine, now on cholesterol medicine. I remember, feeling like the frustration of, damn, I don't want to be on this medication. Damn, I don't want to be that person with all the list of medications. Damn, this is another thing, y'all. I'm also actually looking for cute pill boxes. But that is part of my surrendering. Okay? That is part of the surrender, as opposed to me staying on the struggle bus. Okay? So with that, there's so many things, like I said, that we are now exposed to: the shifts, the disruption of perimenopause, the disruptions of caregiving and trying to navigate caregiving and raising your parents and raising your children at the same time. You are navigating maybe shifts in your career, and all of these can bring up many emotions and feelings, right? It can bring up confusion. It can bring up frustration. It can bring up anger. Okay? It can bring up resentment. It can also bring up grief. Like, what happened to the girl that didn't have to go to CVS pharmacy every goddamn week? Okay? What happened to that girl? What happened to the girl that used to exercise like with no issues? And then one day I'm exercising and I can't straighten my leg because my knee hurt. Like, what happened to that other girl? So the grief of losing that girl that you used to be, and now trying to figure out that girl that's now evolving and changing right in front of your eyes, right? So there's a lot of emotions. So I don't want to minimize any of that. And you can feel all of that. Like, I want you to feel that. I want you to feel that frustration and the anger and the confusion. Like, it's totally fine to feel that. But the problem is that you can feel it and then just stay there and just live there in those feelings, in those emotions. And that brings up so much tension in our bodies that actually can, what's the word I'm looking for? It can actually intensify your symptoms or intensify the stressors that are already that's already been placed on you. So I don't want us to live there, right? So when we talk about struggle versus surrender, like struggle is, you having all these things that are happening, whether it's, physically, or outside of you, where things are happening, within your household or in your workplace. There can be resistance, right? Like you don't want to be, you don't want that, you don't want to honestly accept the change, right? You're forcing yourself, you're forcing your body to do what it used to do, right? Okay, let's talk about that, because when I talked about exercise just now, right? So I I have not been exercising like I used to. And not used to meaning like 10 years ago, like literally like probably 6 months ago. So before my episode in the ER that I talked about in a prior episode, I was exercising pretty regularly. And I am just now starting to get back into it because of my blood pressure and it was so high. My doctor actually told me to stop exercising for a while. I'm like, what? Stop exercising? Like, what? I need to exercise. She's like, I understand, but it can exacerbate your blood pressure. Now you just hold off for it, hold off on it for a second. I'm like, all right, fine. So I did, and that turned into longer than what I wanted it to be. But it is what it is. So I decided I wanted to get back into it, right? So I went to go exercise and do things that I was doing before, deadlifts and like split squats. So when I went to go back to do that the other day, my body was like, you hadn't done this in a while. So in that moment, I was forcing myself to perform like it used to, 6 months ago. But my body wasn't ready, right? But, again, forcing your body to do something it's not used to, or your body was not, able to do in this moment, that's a form of, being in the struggle, right? Pushing through, ignoring signs, right? If you have like, for me, I can have headaches and I can just ignore them. I'm like, okay, I have this headache, but I don't have time to address it. I'm just going to still do what I need to do and just keep pushing through or whatever. That's a form of just being on the struggle bus, just staying in struggle, or trying to control every single thing, right? Just trying to control every single thing. Knowing that we can't control every single thing, but we try to control that. So all of those things can essentially be a form of just sitting in the struggle. But when we talk about surrender, think about surrender, my original thought was, okay, that means I'm just quitting, right? Like I'm just quitting. I'm just like, fuck it. I'm not going to, but it's not that. It's not quitting. It's not giving up. It's not a form of weakness. It's actually acceptance. It's actually accepting where you are right now. And in that same token, knowing that this will not be forever. There's been so many women asking, when I've done speaking engagements and just speaking to women in general, they ask me about their symptoms and how long is this going to be? Like when should I expect this to end? And that's a very loaded question because there's no like predictor of that, right? Because we are always evolving. Is there really an end? I don't know, right? Like, so I can't really answer that question. So I don't answer it because I don't have an answer. And what I do say is that it's, instead of thinking about when this is going to end or asking that question, think about shifting that mindset to say, okay, this is where I am now, and embracing her. This is where I am right now. So not sitting in struggle and saying this shouldn't be happening. right? Sitting in frustration and just staying there. And shifting to surrender, where you're saying, okay, this is happening. Now, what do I do? Now we go back to these questions of, okay, what do I need right now? Like what I talked about in the last episode, the midlife body is speaking to you. Asking yourself those questions. Okay, what does my body need right now? My body is speaking. What is she trying to tell me? That is a form of surrender. And not being in the mindset of my body is broken, my body is betraying me. Your body is communicating, it's speaking, it's trying to tell you something. These are signals, this is information, this is data. Are you taking on too much and your body's trying to tell you something? It doesn't have to be just symptoms or symptoms at all. It can just be your body is just having different things, whether it's pressure in your chest or just pain, different pains. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to perimenopause or hormonal shifts. It could just be all the stressors that you've taken upon yourself, the invisible load that you're carrying, and your body is giving you signals. And you have to realize that your body is speaking. And the question is, are you listening or are you trying to argue with her? Are you trying to tell her I don't have time for this, we're going to push through? Or are you judging girl, you better do those deadlifts like you did 6 months ago. You can't be giving up. Right? So we have to, steer away from that form of struggle and lean more into accepting and having more compassion for ourselves, right? Surrendering and figuring out what we need right now, mentally, physically, emotionally, right? And realize and accept that we can only control the controllables, right? I am a recovering control freak. I would like to be, my prior self would like to be in control of every single thing. And I've had to learn that it can't happen. Right? I would like to not be on blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine. I would like not to spend time going to CVS and standing in line for another medication. But some of these things are beyond my control right now, right? But what I can control is, at the same time, try to mitigate these things is choosing to rest when I need to. When I feel that headache, do I need to take a nap? Do I need to, drink more water? Being mindful of what I'm putting in my body, right? As far as food, as far as mentally looking at certain things on social media or television. Support, seeking out the support I need, whether it is talking to my physician or talking to one of my sisters, talking to a good girlfriend of mine, just seeking out that support. But it all boils down to me checking in with myself and listening to what I need instead of ignoring it and pushing through, as well as not holding on to who I used to be. And that was very hard for me to let her go. So I know it's not easy, but it is a process, y'all. It is a process that we have to continue to practice over and over and over again. So surrender is not a form of weakness. It is really more so leaning into your power. Being empowered to choose yourself and the boundaries that you need so that you can feel well as you're navigating all these things that are happening whether, like I said, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, whether it's things that are outside of you, you are choosing yourself. That is what surrender entails. You're actually choosing the things that protect your peace. You are choosing things that create joy. You are choosing things that allow you to not be drawn into negativity, in where you're just sitting with the frustration of it all, but you're actually actively accepting, where you are, and again, listening to your body, asking those questions that will allow you to do or not do things that will allow you to rest, and things that, fill you up, spiritually, doing those things instead. That is surrender. And I know that, for me, especially as a Black woman, we've been conditioned to just continuing to push through. And many of us say, girl, I'm out here surviving. I'm just surviving the day. we become experts of surviving, right? And not enough surrendering. But we were taught to endure. We weren't taught to listen. We weren't taught to listen to our bodies. We weren't taught to even rest, right? We've been taught to continue to push through, continue to go, do it again. Oh, over and over and over again. Choosing others, choosing to do all the things for everyone else instead of choosing ourselves. So surrender allows us to actually develop, just not only develop, but connect to our inner wisdom and do the things that we need to do in order to, have the peace that we deserve, have the joy that we also deserve as we are navigating all the things that are happening in midlife. So that is why I am creating this space in 50 Shades of Melanin, a midlife movement, where you are able to learn, what your body is doing, connecting the dots of, okay, this is happening. Why is that happening? Learn how to have a different response. Again, acknowledging the feelings that come up, because I never want you to ignore any of the feelings or push them down, because that's what I used to do. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that at all. That's not what I'm saying. But I want you to give yourself space to feel them, but at the same time, be mindful of how you're responding to it all, because that influences your experience moving forward. So in this space of 50 Shades of Melanin, we are creating an environment where we're learning our bodies, learning how to respond to the changes that are happening, learning how to respond to the things that are happening outside of us, whether it's taking care of parents, raising children, changes in our relationships with our partners, changes in things that are happening in our careers, learning how to respond to those things in a way that does not cause even more frustration, right? More inflammation. Because stress, outside stressors leads to more inflammation in our bodies. And as our bodies are changing, as our estrogen is declining, our estrogen is a protector of inflammation in our body. So as now estrogen is declining, we don't have that protector anymore. So we have to be even more mindful of the stressors that are happening and how it's affecting us internally, so we don't have to add even more inflammation within our bodies. So I don't want you to, so instead I want you to be able to sit and surrender and not struggle. So 50 Shades of Melanin, a midlife movement, is an invitation for you to be in a space where you can learn that and do that in the community, right? Because I don't want you to go at all of this alone, what I know many of you are doing already. Like you should not be out here trying to navigate it all and figure it out all on your own. So this is why I want to create a very intimate experience where we are with many, basically many of us are experiencing a lot of things similarly and can have a lot of the same stressors, within our households and in our careers and within our bodies, and being able to connect to each other with those similar experiences and sharing our stories, and being able to learn how to accept where we are and then now figure out, okay, what do I do now? Right? Asking that question, okay, this is happening. What now? What do I do now? This is what this experience is all about. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, you need to get it, because the discounted sale tickets are going to end on April 30th. Because after that, the price will go up. Today's price won't be yesterday's. What is it? Today's price is not yesterday's price. I think that's how it goes. Child, I forgot. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. So if any of that resonates with you, go and buy your ticket. If you're here in the DMV, even if you're not here in the DMV, you can pay us a visit. We would love to have you. Or if you have a friend or two or sisters here in the DMV who will benefit from this transformative experience, you can buy her a ticket and donate it to her. That's also a lovely option. So, okay. I am grateful for our sponsors for this event, Black Girl Vitamins and the National Menopause Foundation. Just really appreciative of their support. And I am just in awe of God's work as I am continuing to plan for this experience, y'all. I'm looking forward to it. And more so just to be able to connect with you all that will be in the room, so that you can walk away with what you need to do the things and be the next version of yourself that you can be proud of, and just find joy within. So, all right, y'all. So that's what I have for you today. Of course, as I always say, please share with other women that you know. And as always, sing love and light to you all. And I'll talk to y'all next time. All right, y'all. Bye.